One boy and his dream existed before Townsville, before heroes and monsters, before Aku's shadow. Dexter thought that everything could be fixed by science. He chased the ideal of perfection, while growing up buried beneath machines. However, there is a cost to perfection. His device, the Chrono Core, did more than simply turn on one evening. It roused something. The atmosphere froze. Time paused. He caught glimpses of unrealized worlds, such as flying girls, a samurai of the future, and cities under siege. Dexter came to the realization that he had altered fate itself, not created time travel. The machine broke. But it didn't stop. It screamed. Reality twisted like paper, and Dexter's lab turned into a storm of colors and shadows. He saw every mistake he hadn't made yet, every future that wasn't supposed to exist. When the light finally died, his lab was gone. But something stayed behind, a black, liquid heartbeat pulsing on the floor. Dexter called it Chemical X, and even as he held it, it pulsed like it knew his name. Years passed. Dexter vanished from history, and his technology disappeared with him. But legends of his inventions lived on. One day, a new scientist, Professor Utonium, discovered an encrypted file marked only with the letter X. He thought it was a chemical recipe. It wasn't. It was a door, the same door Dexter once opened. And when the professor mixed that formula, he didn't just create the Powerpuff Girls. He reignited the broken timeline. The explosion that made Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup didn't just give life, it gave memory. Inside their DNA, fragments of lost worlds awakened. Sometimes, Blossom dreamed of machines she never built. Buttercup felt anger she couldn't explain. And Bubbles? She cried for people she never met. Because they weren't just girls, they were echoes. Pieces of Dexter's broken timeline, reborn as heroes. Townsville thrived. The girls became heroes, symbols of hope and light. But beneath their city, something else was growing: mutations. Chemical X didn't just create good, it created balance. Every hero needs a shadow, and every light casts darkness. Those shadows would soon take shape, and one of them would remember Dexter's world. His name would be Mojo Jojo. He was once the professor's helper, a curious little lab monkey who watched every experiment with wonder. But when the explosion happened, he was too close. Chemical X didn't bless him, it cursed him. His mind expanded beyond reason, filled with memories that weren't his. He remembered metal halls, robotic armies, a boy in a lab coat calling himself Dexter. Mojo didn't understand why, but he felt betrayed, like he'd been born twice and forgotten both times. So he made it his mission to destroy everything the professor created, to destroy the very timeline that made him. Townsville became the shining heart of a new age. Its skyline touched the clouds, powered by inventions beyond human design. But no one questioned where that technology came from. Every circuit, every reactor, every flying car, all traced back to one origin: Dexter's files. His lost blueprints, rediscovered and rewritten, built the world's future. But beneath the neon beauty lay his curse, a system built on unstable energy. The same energy that once tore time apart was now running the world. And every time the girls used their powers, the timeline cracked a little more. At first, it was small, a flicker in the sky, a cloud that glitched, a shadow that moved backwards. But soon, people began disappearing mid-sentence. The Powerpuff Girls couldn't understand it. How do you fight something you can't see? The professor realized the truth. History was unraveling. Dexter's first tear in reality had awakened again, and this time it was eating their world. In a hidden vault beneath his lab, the professor kept something he never showed the girls: an ancient file labeled D1. Inside, he found blueprints written in Dexter's handwriting, schematics of weapons, machines, and a portal marked Temporal Gate. He realized then, he hadn't invented Chemical X, he'd only repeated it. And someone, somewhere, had done this before. In desperation, the professor rebuilt the portal. He wanted to send the girls through, to reset the world before it collapsed. But Mojo arrived first. His rage turned the experiment into chaos. The portal exploded again, louder, brighter, stronger. When the light cleared, the city was gone, and time itself had ended. Centuries passed in silence. No cities, no heroes, only dust, ruins, and echoes of a world that once glowed with color. But from those ruins something stirred, a voice, distant but alive. It whispered of balance, of destiny, of one last chance to set things right. And from the ashes of science, a samurai was born. He didn't remember where he came from, only that the world was broken, and he was meant to fix it. He called himself Jack. But sometimes when the wind howled through dead machines, he swore he could hear whispers. Dexter, Professor, Chemical X. The words meant nothing to him, yet somehow they felt like home. Jack wandered across what was left of civilization, ruins carved with strange symbols, circles, letters, the mark of D.D. Dexter's designs. Every structure, every relic, proof that science had ruled once and destroyed itself. The samurai carried no memories, but destiny had given him their burden. But from the corruption of Chemical X came something darker. A living shadow, the mutation of all failed experiments, all corrupted codes, all broken dreams. He called himself Aku. He was chaos made flesh, the echo of Dexter's first mistake. And he ruled what was left of the world. Jack's sword wasn't forged by men. It was made from the same energy that created the Powerpuff Girls, purified by centuries of silence. It could cut through time, through corruption, through Aku himself. But every swing brought him closer to a truth he wasn't ready for. He wasn't fighting Aku to save the world. He was fighting to erase his own creation. In a forgotten mountain, Jack found a sealed door. The mark on it was ancient, but he recognized it. Laboratory. Inside, machines still hummed. A single monitor blinked after all these centuries. Welcome back, Dexter. The AI spoke to him. It told him he was the last protector of a failed timeline, a world born from Dexter's experiment. Every rebirth, every reset, every battle had already happened before. He wasn't a man. He was the universe's memory of guilt. As Jack processed the truth, the lab trembled. A voice filled the air, deep, cruel, familiar. Aku had found him. He laughed, saying, "We are the same, samurai. You kill, I rebuild. You fight, I feed." And for the first time, Jack hesitated, because deep down, Aku was right. The AI offered him a way out. Restart the timeline again, rebuild everything. But that meant losing everyone, even the ghosts of those he loved. Jack stared into the glowing portal, sword in hand, and whispered, "Maybe the world isn't meant to be perfect." Then he walked into the light. Light consumed everything. And when it faded, color returned. Laughter, buildings, children's voices. But no one remembered him. Dexter was gone. The girls were gone. And the world began again. Innocent, simple, unaware. Somewhere, a little boy woke up from a dream. He rushed to his desk, grabbed a pencil, and started to draw. A lab, a samurai, 3 flying girls. And as his hand moved, a soft smile appeared on his face, as if he'd seen it all before. Maybe he wasn't Dexter. Maybe he was just another dreamer. But every story begins the same way, with someone trying to make the world better and accidentally breaking it instead. In another world, deep within the static of forgotten cartoons, the Powerpuff Girls fight again. In another, a lone samurai walks toward a red horizon. And somewhere, in the quiet hum of a lab, A machine waits to be switched on. The cycle never ends. A cosmic being watches, not Aku, not Jack, not Dexter, just someone remembering. Because stories never die, they only sleep, waiting for someone to tell them again. Sometimes, when the wind hits just right, you can hear faint laughter, gears turning, a sword slicing through air. Maybe it's just memory, or maybe it's history trying to start again. They were never separate shows, never random worlds. They were chapters of the same story, the same universe wearing different faces. A boy, a professor, a samurai, all trying to fix what they once broke. Science was never the enemy. Time was, and every genius, every hero, every monster was just a different way the universe tried to forgive itself. Every time the story ends, someone starts it again. A sketch, a spark, a dream. That's how worlds are born. That's how cartoons never die. The Powerpuff Girls, Dexter, Samurai Jack, they're not characters. They're echoes of one creator's guilt, echoes that learned how to live. The lost cartoon timeline isn't just a theory. It's a confession written across generations of ink and code. And if you listen closely, you can still hear the hum of Dexter's lab, the laughter of the Powerpuff Girls, and the silence of a samurai who never stopped walking.